Right now to that exclusive poll by Ipsos and the Standard Group. The poll conducted in all of Nairobi's constituencies suggests that Bishop Margaret Wanjiru and Makadara Member of Parliament Mike Sonko are some of the most popular politicians in the city. The poll indicates that Sonko, who is running for the Senate, would easily win if an election were called today. Bishop Wanjiru, who is seeking the governor's seat, also has a slim margin against her closest rival, Ferdinand Waititu. Sophia Wanuna now takes us through some of the figures. Sophia, over to you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Let's now begin with a look at the most pressing problems in Nairobi County, and majority of the city's residents ranked insecurity as the most pressing problem at 32%. This, of course, associated with the recent cases of insecurity in the country. Lack of employment, high cost of living, corruption, water problems, and bad roads are the other issues Kenyans want addressed. The voter registration closed yesterday, and according to the poll, 97% of Nairobi County residents intend to vote in the 4th March general election. Let's move on to the next board. And in the last few weeks, several political alliances have been formed, and 52% of Nairobians favor the CORD alliance that is made up of Raila Odinga's ODM, Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Democratic Movement, and Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya. And the Jubilee Alliance comes second at 39%, an alliance currently made up of Uhuru Kenyatta's TNA, William Ruto's URP, and Musalia Mudavadi's UDF. Peter Kenneth and Raphael Tuju's alliance is third in popularity, followed by Pambazuka and Martha Karua, who is going it alone. Now, as for the knowledge of the electable political positions in the country, only 44% on the bottom of that list are aware that they will be voting in a woman representative, and 50% know about the county assembly ward representative position. Moving on, Margaret Wanjiru is the most popular candidate in the gubernatorial race. Respondents said that what they like most about her is that she has a good development track record and good planning skills. She's at the top there. Those who do not support her say that she mixes politics and religion. Ferdinand Waititu is second favorite, followed by Evans Kidero. On the Senate contest, Mike Mbuvi, alias Sonko, is preferred candidate, standing at 59%. His supporters describe him as generous and charitable towards the community, while those against his senatorial candidature say he is childish. Fred Gumo was ranked second. And finally, Rachel Shebesh is the most popular candidate for the woman representative position at 25%. And although Elizabeth Ongoro has expressed interest in the Senate seat, there is a perception that she is running for the woman rep position, as she is ranked second with a 10%. So there you have it. I now hand you over for more on this and more analysis on this political polls and what we're likely to see. Our Eric Njoka is standing by in Studio B.
Thanks, Sophia. Thanks, Sophia. Now what we're going to do is crunch the numbers and know the statistics as they are. And joining me now in studio is Ipsos Synovate Managing Director Margaret Ireri, just to tell us what has been done and how they came about, the figures. And just to recap what they've said, majority of the city's residents ranked insecurity as the most pressing problem at 32%. Before I go to Nairobi County, first of all, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Just before we go to Nairobi County, they just concluded voter registration. Your thoughts about it, in brief?
I think it would be interesting to see the final numbers that are published by the IEBC, because when we did an opinion poll about 2 weeks ago, the intention to vote, the intention to register was high, probably over 90%. But the reality is what we'll actually see in the final IEBC voter register. So I'm keen to compare intention vis-a-vis action.
97%. Let's now come back to Nairobi County. 97% of those people registered for the March 4th elections. Why this gap? Why this big gap with Nairobi City? Why is it so much focused with opinion polls? Why is it always on the limelight? Why is this county so big? What is the importance of this?
For, of course, obvious reasons, Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. And even if you look at the infrastructure and the way the country sits, a lot of the resources, offices are actually based in Nairobi. And I would imagine if I want to take a seat across the country, I'll probably want to be in Nairobi because that's where the hub of the country is.
Why is it called the Bethwether County of political, intrigues? Why so? Why is everyone wanting to just go to Nairobi and I want to be known through Nairobi, the Bethwether County? But
I would imagine that if you are in Nairobi, or let's say you take a very strategic role in Nairobi like a governor or senator, visually it's a very prominent position, and assuming that you can deliver for Nairobi County, it would give you a very good platform to the next political position. And after being governor of Nairobi, what's next? Perhaps the presidency.
With the recent polls, viewers, we sampled some of them. We asked people what they thought about the opinion polls, and this is what they had to say.
Kwa maoni yangu, kama Wanjiru ama Sonko wakisimama, nitapigia Wanjiru. Juu ninampenda kulingana na ile kazi ametufanyia, na mimi constituency mimi natoka constituency yake. Amefanya kazi mzuri sana. Kuna upinzani karibu sana, kwa sababu ukiangalia Wanjiru na Baru also ni mzito kwa kuwa governor, na anajulikana vizuri sana vile ameendesha biashara zake.
Mtu kama Mike Sonko, he uses all his money on the poor. So why not elect such a person?
Nairobi ni the most sensitive county, na inataka senator ambayo ataiendelesha vizuri. Na sisi kama wapiga kura, tukimake mistake this start of the first time to have the senator wa Nairobi, tuchague mtu ambaye ana maono, tutaachwa nyuma siku nyingi sana.
Lakini Mama Wanjiru, because of the faith he has as a Christian, she can manage the finances, hata kuwa kijaribu kutunyang'anya vitu.
Well, there you have it. Those are what that is what people are saying actually about the opinion poll. Let's now come to you. People are saying that opinion polls are biased. What's the eligibility of opinion polls in the country?
I believe that if an opinion poll is done scientifically, it can be able to predict behavior. And what we've done over the past few years and across the Market and Social Research Association, we've actually come up with standards for opinion polling, and it is very scientific. Now, opinion polling is a new thing in Kenya, it's a new thing in Nairobi, and it will take a bit of time before Nairobians or Kenyans can understand the methodology. But the true test of an opinion poll is when you measure the opinion poll's results before an actual election outcome, and you see what we were able to predict.
But how can you question the methodology of opinion polls when you have only 800 people, 1,600 people being interviewed in a whole county?
The issue is not the size of the sample. The issue is how you're able to distribute the sample. If you can be able to distribute it scientifically, maybe across the various demographics as the population sits, if you can be able to distribute it across the various constituencies as the population sits, then that becomes a scientific sample. So it's not the number, it's actually how you distribute it. An example of the US, you can imagine the population there, it's humongous, over 250 million, but they take a sample of 1,000 and they're able to predict voter behavior.
Hold on. Let me just take you back to what you said in your opinion poll. You said that this is one of the counties with no voter apathy, no single party dominates in this county. Males are being the majority than females. And also you say that low knowledge of electable positions. Awareness. Let's talk about awareness. And then you have a mixture of methodology and awareness. People who don't know who they're going to vote for, people who are not sure if they're going to vote. How do you carry out both at a time?
Okay, there's an issue of awareness and there's an issue of probing. So if I come to you and I ask you, who do you vote for if elections are to be held today for a particular position, I wait for your spontaneous response. You tell me and I record it. Assuming you do not know, I record do not know. So we are able to gauge whether awareness is low by recording don't know. And what you're finding out in this study, and this is Nairobi, the capital city, awareness of electable positions is quite low. Knowledge of whom they will vote for beyond the presidential level is quite low. And honestly, that is worrying, especially since you're talking about Nairobi as a key and the hub of Kenya.
So political alliances formed 59%. Is that so? 59% of your vote or your tally. ODM stood out. So many questions are asking. Nairobi County, ODM stood out. Margaret Wanjiru stood out as the position for governor. We had Mike Sonko standing as senator, and he stood out. And we have always, we've had a problem also with Mike Sonko and Ferdinand, you know, being under a case or being investigated and saying that, you know, they're not eligible to stand as governor or senator. Will this affect come general election in March 4th? Will this affect? Because it's a mixture of everything, you know, everyone is talking about this and that. Yeah.
I think there are two issues here. There's the issue of a political party. At the point where you're voting a governor or a senator or a member of parliament, will a political party alliance or affiliation affect the voter patterns? If you look at the survey we just done, people seem to be affiliated to a particular political party. But when it comes to choosing a particular candidate at governor or senator level, they do not necessarily look at them based on the party they come from. They look at them as individuals. And that's the kind of assessment you're having. That's number one. Number two, there's a belief by supporters that if I support a particular individual, regardless of what other people say, I believe is the right candidate. So that's why you're seeing maybe candidates or aspirants that are surprising to you actually being ranked quite highly. But what matters is that, do I feel that my candidate can represent me when they get into government? And when people vote for, let's say, Margaret Wanjiru, for Ferdinand Waititu, Sonko and all that, they're actually looking for an attribute within that candidate that they actually support. So the question is, number one, political party will it affect? I don't think it's affecting the voter choice, but it's individuals, leadership attributes and other attributes that are affecting the voter in terms of who they will vote for.
Before I ask my last question, we had on graphics, we say 29% of people for TNA, or for CORD, I beg your pardon, but it's actually 59% of that. We apologize for that. Now, before we go to the next question, let me just ask this. Synovate is out, you know, to educate people about the numbers and also about the percentages and also about how to, you know, vote in the next general elections. Many people are saying that these opinion polls should be stopped, you know, and opinion polls will cause a rift when elections are held. What's your thought about this?
We've been through this journey of whether opinion polls should be done or not. And there's quite a long process and detailed process about regulating opinion polls. And there's actually a law in place that has set out standards and rules and regulation about opinion polls. Most importantly, they say 7 days prior to an actual election event, we should not release any opinion polls. And we're already adhering to that. The law says that we should publish quite a number of information, including demographics and the methodology. We're providing that. So in as much as there are concerns about it, there's already a regulatory environment to ensure that pollsters behave in a manner that is responsible.
And we've come to the end of this interview. I'll hand you over back to Linda. That has been Margaret Ireri, the Managing Director of Ipsos Synovate. Linda, over to you.
Eric Njoka with Nairobi Politics and the polls and what people are looking for in the leaders, what they hope to achieve.